Welcome to CEO Interviews, a production of Gore Call, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives about what's going on at their companies, especially because we're now past Labor Day. Investing season has begun. With us today, happy to have him back, Jim Pakulis, CEO and chairman. And for the first time along with him, thank goodness, we got Connie Marples. She's president and the founder of Boosh Plant-Based Brands, trades on the CSC under VEGI, Veggie, for our friends of the US, VGGIF. For those of you new to the story, this is going to be a fun one, a real fun one. Why? If you've ever thought to yourself, how great, because I have, how great would it be if my favorite comfort foods could only be healthier, then meet Boosh, because they're an award-winning plant-based comfort food company. Products include, and you're going to start salivating, mac and cheese and peas, Veggie Bolognese, and other heat and eat, what they call heat and eat delicious comfort foods that are multiple award winning, but more importantly, 100% plant-based, GMO, gluten-free. More than just lip service though, because not just a great product that's succeeding on the business side, they've expanded to more than 400 stores in less than 2 years, including Safeway, Metro, IGA, and many other retailers. The big recent news was Whole Foods. We're going to talk about that throughout Canada. They've also got a partnership with Beyond Meat. We're going to talk about that. They're distributed by one of the largest distributors in North America. They're hitting on all cylinders. Guys, welcome back.
Hey, George.
Yeah.
Great to be back.
Connie, great to have you first, because Jim and I spoke last time, so let's talk for a second. You heard what I said at the outset. I always said that if eating comfort food was cool, I'd be the king. But reality is I'm over 50. Spaghetti bolognese and things like that are no longer possible. How revolutionary are these products? As you've made an instant customer out of me, and not just because I have to be, but because the products just look so amazing. How much are you revolutionizing the comfort food space?
Well, we wanted to start out with a line of products that we know everybody's going to love, and everyone loves comfort food. It's an easy way to transition to a plant-based diet, starting with things like shepherd's pie and, like you mentioned, mac and cheese. Those are the things that make us feel good and fill us up. But ours are super healthy because they're packed with veggies, low salt, low sugar, and tons of flavor. We really focus on punchy flavor. So pop it in the oven or microwave, and that's all you have to do.
Is it as good? Does it take, because I got to go, I'm going to be going down my local Safeway or Metro or Whole Foods. I'm surrounded by all of them. But man, Jim, maybe you can answer this one. Do they taste as good as they look on the Boosh website? Because when I look on the Boosh website, I instantly, like Pavlov's dogs, start salivating.
It supersedes how good they look. It tastes fantastic. In fact, I just had a chili sandwich about 10 minutes ago.
He actually just tried one of our new dishes. It's a sloppy Joe, and it's delicious, and it's filled with pea protein and lentils. We make a really spicy, kind of little bit sweet sauce with caramelized onions and roasted peppers, and it's ridiculously good.
I mentioned at the outset in my intro the stores that are carrying your product, and that's the ultimate third-party validation, right? Because all kidding aside, Jim may love it, but he's the CEO, so what do you expect him to say? But yeah, when you've got that kind of distribution, that's incredible. And the one I want to talk about, only because it's contemporaneous, is you just announced this while a lot of us were away on summer break. I'm reading the headline: Boosh now available in all Whole Food markets throughout Canada. What kind of third-party validation is that? Because they are the leading retailer that specializes in natural and organic foods. How big is that for them to be carrying?
Well, that was really exciting to us because we know lots of people are shopping for plant-based foods in all the grocery stores, but in particular with a natural food retailer like Whole Foods. That's our target demo going there. And for them to put their faith in us and list us at all their stores across Canada is super exciting. They're also they're carrying all their frozen line to start, and coming out in November, they've got our new chill line, which is the sloppy Joe, the chili and mushroom gravy. They come in a pouch. They're not frozen, so you just pop it in the
Ta-da, ta-da,
the
ta-da.
floating.
That sloppy Joe's got my name written all over it.
Yeah, it's good, and the chili is so good too. And the gravy. We've got QR codes on the back of them, and they will take you to various recipes like chili cheese nachos for game day. Super easy, delicious. The mushroom gravy is, you put that on a Beyond Meat burger with a side of potatoes and some veggies, and it's like the best Salisbury steak you've ever had, kind of thing. And it just really makes you feel good knowing that it's made of mushrooms primarily, and not like a normal gravy that's full of just fat and flour. It's just loaded with good things.
What kind of rigorous
Actually, George, let me
testing?
interrupt you for a second. Let me
Sure.
tell you what the ingredients is: water, mushrooms, onions, carrots, celery, brown rice flour, garlic, pasta, white pepper, thyme, black pepper. I mean, that's the content of this. Everything you can pronounce. It's fantastic.
Yep. But it tastes great. And I got to tell you,
Yeah.
I've had these discussions with my sons who are 19-year-olds, and they're eating everything under the sun. And I've looked at them more than once across the table and said, enjoy that now, because when you get to my age, you're not going to be able to indulge. But you guys are making that possible again. So what I want to ask you is, Whole Foods is a serious company. They're bought by Amazon, 500 locations around the world, growing.
Yeah.
What kind of rigorous testing protocols did you have to go through them? Because that speaks to two things: the taste, which obviously is very important, but also the healthiness, the quality of it. What did that testing and that rigorous testing look like, Connie?
Well, our brokers, our national sales brokers, were the ones on the front lines working with them, as they do with all our major retailers. But they put it before a tasting panel. They check your ingredient list. They make sure you have your certifications. You have to be in a proper facility. I mean, there's a lot of things you go through to make sure that you're going to get listed there and any of the big chains. And we're just really, they are just super supportive of us, and immediately put us on special out of the gates and in flyer. So it's just really, really great. It's going to be super good for our brand.
And the fact that you're expanding with another line in the fall is incredible. It means that relationship looks like it's really cemented right now.
For sure. Yes. And on top of the dishes that we've got in the marketplace, I'm always in the kitchen. I create the recipes from scratch. I've got a long history of cooking, but then I always bring in a chef to sort of elevate it, take it to the next level. I'm a really good cook, but I need somebody professional to tweak it, and also to help scale it up, because it's one thing to make a pot of something taste good, but try and make that a 50,000 pots of it at once.
Doing anything at scale is the difficulty.
Yeah, for sure. You don't just multiply it. There's science that's involved. So we have a full-time food scientist on staff with us now, and consulting chefs. And we've got some really exciting other dishes coming, which I'm not ready to talk about now, but rest assured, they'll be delicious.
If you need me to be a tester, you want to ship it out to Toronto, just ship. I'll give you the feedback. Beyond Meat, I know plant-based food has been around for a long time. Beyond Meat, I think, really brought it to the masses, though. And you've got a branding and supply partnership. Guys, explain to us what that means and what you're doing with Beyond Meat, because you got Whole Foods on the distribution, you got and Safeway and Metro and so on and so forth. You got Beyond Meat in a branding and supply partnership. You guys have obviously attracted the best names. Talk to us about that relationship.
Yeah, so when we were going to market, we knew we wanted a really meaty tasting component to our shepherd's pie and our bolognese. Because most of the people buying our products are not vegans. They're what you call flexitarians, and people that are just trying to get more plants in their diet. So that's why we went with Beyond Meat and approached them, and they were just amazing from the get-go and super supportive. So we are able to use any other products in our recipes. We get, make sure that there's always supply for us, which is really important. As every company goes through peaks and valleys, we're always a priority and make sure that we're always going to be able to get it. And then as we expand our dishes, we can create more dishes with other products that they develop, right? So we've got some things in the works there too. But yeah, it's a really great relationship. And we are able to put their logo on our packaging as well, which catches people at store level.
Jim, on the biz dev side, man, you guys have gone through rapid expansion in less than 2 years. Unbelievable. Because I grew up in the food service business. It is not easy to get on the. It's not easy to even get a meeting. Forget about get on the shelves of the retailers that you've gotten into. What does distribution look like going forward? Because I'm assuming you're going to keep going at an aggressive pace. Is the American market a big part of your expansion strategy going forward?
Yes. And let's talk chronologically. The stores we got into from 2018 to the beginning of 2021 was all Connie and our food broker, right? 150, almost 200 stores just through their wherewithal and them going to the stores and having a huge reception to get into these stores. Since beginning of 2021, we've gotten into roughly 200 to 225 stores. So almost 2/3 of the stores we've gotten into has been from the last 7 to 8 months. One thing I want to mention to you in regards to UNFI, Whole Foods, because we got into Whole Foods, UNFI uses that as a litmus test to then offer their services into the United States. That's one of the reasons that we're going to be into the United States, because of that relationship that Connie got with UNFI and with Whole Foods. So it's kind of a package.
Yeah.
Answering your question directly, yeah, the United States is huge. Canada has 32 million people, the United States of 360 million people. We have a huge, huge opportunity to go into the United States. What we stress here at corporate is we don't want to trip going out the front door. Connie constantly get calls from our food broker, who we just hired in the United States, who has reached out to a lot of the major players, the Costco's, the Walmarts, the Albertsons, Smiths throughout the United States.
Sure.
So we're being cautious, smart, aggressive, but cautious, because the last thing we want to do is jeopardize the relationship. We get one opportunity with these organizations. We don't want to mess that up.
You need to deliver. You got to make sure.
Absolutely. We need to deliver. We walk our talk. So we are being as pragmatic and strategic, and we premeditate as much as possible as we're marching into the United States. Having said all that, we do have an 8,500 square foot facility here. We have an excellent relationship with our co-packer / manufacturer, who's 10 minutes down the road. They're at roughly 35 to 40% capacity. They've committed the balance of their capacity between 60 to 65% capability to Boosh as we continue and grow. What does that mean from a dollar standpoint? About 10 million top line revenue for Boosh at that facility. Yeah. So we have a nice runway ahead of us there. However, we're also already looking at facilities in Eastern Canada, as well as we chatted last time, I'm in Southwest US.
Sure.
So I have access to the Las Vegas greater market. So we're looking at co-packers facilities there to either align ourselves with or to acquire as we continue and march into the US. But in short, the United States opportunity is just going to be monster for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that your success in Canada has set the table, right, Connie? You're getting these calls where people saying, hey, if you pass, because I know that's how I operate. I'm going to say, hey, if you guys pass the test at Safeway, at Metro, at IGA, at Whole Foods, we'll take you through the basics just to do our own due diligence. But the decisions are happening a lot faster now, Connie. Is it safe to say that the purchasing decisions are really accelerating versus at the beginning, you had to grind and prove yourself?
For sure. For a lot of reasons, momentum is building from all the work we've put in. When I started in 2018, plant-based was just a sort of thought in people's minds, but it wasn't mainstream yet. So it's hugely grown since then, as we all know. But yeah, it's a combination of things, and we're excited about the US. I did go on a trade commission there in early 2020. Or was it late 20? Actually, it was late 2019 with a bunch of other brands to Seattle. And we were able to pitch in front of buyers. And at that time, they were all looking at Boosh going, yep, because frozen is the #1 growing category in the US. And even at that time, plant-based was #2. And that's just continued the path. So we feel very confident about our ability to break into that market. And share our love of tasty food with our American friends.
And they got hearty appetites, that's for sure.
We like hearty appetite.
They got hearty appetite. And I'll be telling all my Greeks when it's ready, I'll open up the entire Greek market for you in the US. Let's talk about
for you.
Hey, if you're gonna come out, are you planning to come out with some Greek dishes?
I have got an amazing moussaka dish, honestly, that's plant-based, and it's really beautiful. It's vegetables, lentils, a little pea protein to give it that meaty thing, and then the bechamel sauce. Yum.
So if you got all kidding aside, Connie, if you got a product lineup in your head where you're saying, okay, we got these products, and would you give us an inkling, or are you going to hold that close to your chest, or can you give us an inkling of things like moussaka and other kind of amazing foods that you're gonna make healthier?
Yeah, well, I do have a big repertoire. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd just launch them all at once, but that's not really feasible on so many levels. Like, I scare the team around here because I go, oh, let's make this. And they're like, hold back on it. So, yeah, I prefer not to chat about the stuff that's in development.
Makes sense.
As much as we like all the other plant-based food companies out there, we like to launch when we're ready to launch with our new items. So,
what's a reasonable run rate for launching products? Is it 1 or 2 a year, 3 or 4? What's a reasonable? Because you're right, you can't just bring them all to market. As much as shareholders would love to see, start selling to everybody in the States and start rolling out all your products. It's just not feasible. What's a realistic, a growth level for the products?
Well, for the beginning, whatever you launch with, that was like we launched with the 6 SKUs in frozen. So now it's pretty easy for us to add a SKU. Like, for instance, I will tell you, we've got a Buddha bowl coming, which is delicious, and it's very healthy, and it's not for everyone. It's a super tasty miso tahini dressing with grains and edamame, and it's yummy, but it's kind of a hippie bowl, really. I don't know. Would you like that?
I would love it.
Yeah. I love that one. So anyway, we've got that. We've got a no meat loaf coming out in the frozen as well. So once you've got your packaging, your sizing, and your formulations down, it gets easier to roll out new dishes. But when you're launching like an entire new line like this took us about 8 months to do, and now we'll be able to add to this line fairly easily, roll out a couple. So I would say we'll probably do 6 or so more dishes in the next 6 months. All
right, that's good to know. Yeah, because it's good, because guys like me, if I fall in love with the Veggie Bolognese and the mac and cheese, it's gonna and the sloppy Joe, I'm like, give me more, right? With great growth in terms of customers and product, you have to also bring on great people. And typically when a company appoints someone to an advisory board, we really don't talk about it that much because you need to fill an advisory board. But in your case, you brought in someone named Dave Richardson, who's a special advisor. And he's got incredible experience in emerging growth companies, especially the plant-based food sector. But he's also in multiple technology companies, so he really knows how to grow these companies from the ground floor up, how to help them. What's he get? I mean, his Rolodex looks tremendous. What kind of help is he going to bring to the company? What are you going to be looking to him for?
For all the things that you had just mentioned in regards to him being here or being there and done that successfully on a repetitive basis. Number 2, even before we brought him on, because of the relationship he has with our team, he actually started introducing us to folks he thought could benefit Boosh. Mm-hmm. And it was just wonderful. Number 3, I had the pleasure of spending time with him, and he's just one of the most interesting, sincere, genuine individuals I've ever met. He has a huge following in Canada, a wonderful background, and so it's an all-around benefit to Boosh to have someone of this caliber that I can lean on as the CEO, wanting to take us to the next level. To be able to call Dave up, and he always responds right away. So he's very well grounded. Yet he could, if we wanted to literally open up in the Asian market, first call would be to Dave, and most likely he would say,
Wow.
"Yeah, I got somebody for you. Let me make a call and get back to you in a couple of hours." That's the type of individual, the quality individual that Dave is. Just wonderful. We're just blessed to have him.
Mhm.
And he's focused on sustainability and environmental. So he just fits perfectly with the corporate culture. And,
Yes.
and so does his Rolodex.
100%. Yeah, exactly.
A couple of corporate matters that we should talk about quickly. DTC listing, you just announced that. Maybe talk to everybody a little bit, because some people may not understand how important that is, but the importance of a DTC listing, Jim.
Sure, absolutely. We took the company public via IPO. We did not do a reverse merger. We did an organic IPO, went public in May 27th of 2021 on the CSE, Canadian Securities Exchange, under Veggie, VEGI. We immediately thereafter wanted to get onto the OTC QB or QX. First things first, we had to apply with FINRA, got approval. We then got onto the OTC Pink, immediately applied for the QB, got onto the QB. Just as importantly, in order for an easy, quick transaction to take place when you're buying and selling shares, having the DTC eligibility eases all the pressures for shareholders. So they can go to Schwab now, they can go to E-Trade, they can go to their local brokerage house and buy and sell Boosh shares.
Just like they would if they want to buy and sell Apple.
Apple, absolutely. Prior to being DTC eligible, which we just received Monday, today's Thursday, we received, Tuesday, 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was a Herculean task to buy and sell a share on the OTC if you don't have DTC eligibility. So it opens up a tremendous opportunity for all shareholders to go ahead and participate in looking into, investigating, doing their research, and perhaps buying some shares in Boosh.
And I'm assuming you're making moves like this because you're getting those inquiries, that demand, that interest from American investors, because you're situated in Utah. So I'm assuming you got a great network of investors in the States that, hey, how do I buy this stock more easily?
We do. We have a tremendous amount of interest. And in fact, I'd say, though we haven't marketed in the United States yet, about 80% of the interest is coming from the United States. So yes, it's a huge body of individuals interested, wanting to participate in Boosh in the United States. Also, and we put this in a press release several months ago, we had retained the services of a US-based marketing company, and they will commence roughly in a couple of weeks in regards to their role and as marketing Boosh throughout the United States. So we believe we have a tremendous amount of activity coming between the operations side and the Pubco side. So you had talked about management earlier. I think as an investor, if you are looking and investing in any, agnostically, whatever sector it may be, we happen to be in the plant-based industry, but you have to look at 4 or 5 different variables. Number one, the team. Does the team have the capability and the quality to do what they represent they're going to do? Well, Connie has over practically a quarter of a century in various elements in the food industry, successfully. Number 2, Ali Samai, quarter of a century in the natural food industry, very successful. In here corporately, we have probably a half a dozen to 8 folks that we have selected very carefully. And Connie and I chatted about this morning. Took us a tremendous amount of time. Hire slow, fire fast. We hire very slowly to get the right quality.
Fire slow, fire fast.
So we want to make sure that this team stays with us and grows with us. Then on the publicly traded side, I have over a dozen years of experience in the Pubco in the corner office. When you combine that with an industry that is probably going to be the fastest growing industry over the next quarter of a century.
Oh, yeah.
Combine that with literally, I believe, arguably the best plant-based food products in the marketplace. You put that package together, that makes it a very, very enticing for an investor to want to do their due diligence and perhaps buy some shares in Boosh.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, by the way, it's genius that you went to the comfort food side, because it's an automatic door opener. I mean, look, there are a lot of great plant-based foods companies out there. Some of them are clients of ours. They got great products. But I got to tell you, when I see Veggie Bolognese, the mac and cheese, the sloppy joes, it makes me want to drive out right now, because I just got back from vacation. Makes me want to drive right out now to one of the stores close by and pick it up. you know, because that's what we grew up with, as opposed to learning something brand new that's plant-based, which would be great.
Yeah.
So I really love that.
George,
So
shepherd's pie, rustic pie. I mean, these are the, as we said, comfort food, the gateway comfort foods. This is what Connie has created, and they're phenomenal. I sat and had a plate of the shepherd's pie last night. I couldn't believe how good it is. It's fantastic. It really is wonderful. You're gonna love
and
it.
that's the ultimate due diligence for everybody at home. For everybody who's watching or listening, right? Do due diligence. Get to one of the stores that I've mentioned. Look for the products. You know, because we're gonna be flashing them on the screen also. Plus, Jim and Connie, you guys have held them up. But you know, go try some. That's the ultimate due diligence. If you love the product, chances are most people are gonna love the product too, and you know you got yourself a winner. Last corporate question for you, also, Jim. Your cap structure. I think that's something you want to talk about with people because you want them to know how great of a cap structure you've got.
I really do. We spent a significant amount of time creating our capitalization table. Number one, we try to be as non-dilutive as possible. We are all shareholders. In fact, my compensation is through 50-cent warrants. So I'm rowing in the same boat as all the shareholders. There's not a two-tier structure with our corporation. We are all rowing in the same boat. With that said, we have arguably the most conservative cap structure out of any plant-based company in the industry. We have roughly 16 million shares outstanding. Our market cap is roughly 20 million. Our closest competitor is 80 million. We did the IPO we just mentioned, brought in about $2.875 million. We had over 1,100 shareholders participate. We love shareholders. We love growing the shareholder base. We believe that is one of the key to our business successes, is to have between 5,000 to 10,000 shareholders. And that's what we're working on right now, is to get a large shareholder base. So when you combined us not wanting to be as dilutive, and let me just add, for our IPO, we had verbal orders of over $10 million wanting to participate.
Wow.
But we had to have patience and restraint because we didn't want to dilute the company. We did the company at 50 cents. We prognosticated that based on our fundamentals and our growth, the stock price would go up. And maybe later on, you know, we're not certainly looking for a raise right now, but later on we may do other raises. But we're not going to go ahead and dilute the company at 50 cents and you know, all of a sudden have 50 to 100 million shares outstanding. They're just like everybody else. It's hard to move the needle when you're at that level. So in short, I believe we have the best structure that's designed to benefit shareholders as we are.
Well, as an experienced small cap investor myself for the last 25 years, I can tell you what you just said has great anecdotal proof there, which is you could have taken the money, but you didn't. And the only two reasons you do that is either one, you're crazy, which you're not, or two, you figure that's more than enough food, that's more than enough money, because we're also going to have great sales going on. So we're going to have great revenue plus this cash. That's more than enough to get us through, you know, to our next phase of growth. And then we'll go out and raise again. And that is a big, that's a big indicator for me, and should be for people watching or listening at home, that you didn't take the money when you could, because most people will grab that money. Guys, it's been a great interview. It's almost been 30 minutes, but it's flown by. Hopefully most of the 1,100 current investors of the company are going to be watching and listening to this, and they're going to be sharing this with everybody else, because it's an amazing story that's just getting going. And for me, my personal opinion, I think the only question now is degree of success. It's no longer a question of if the company's going to be successful. It's just strictly degree of success. And over the next 2 to 3 years, I know a lot of investors like to look at the next 2 to 3 weeks or 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
But for me, it's clear as day. 400 stores now becomes 800, becomes 1,600, becomes 3,000. That's what you want to be around for. Connie, last word to you. Whatever it is you want to say, how do you want to finish off this interview? What do you want people at home to take away?
I just want people to know that Boosh is here to make their lives a little bit easier in terms of getting more plants into your life, and just throw some in the freezer or in the fridge, and it's there and ready for you when you don't feel like cooking and you don't know where to start eating more plants in your diet. That's why we're here.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Right on, George.
Love the excitement, love the enthusiasm. Next time we speak, I'll actually have one or two of your products in front of me, right? And for real. But congratulations on what you guys done so far. Connie, you're the founder of the company. You started from scratch. Pardon the pun, when it comes to food, but you started from scratch. And now you've got great people around like Jim, and you guys are really taking this to another level. I can't wait to watch you guys grow, and can't wait to have you guys back again pretty soon.
Thank you, George. Such a pleasure meeting you. I really appreciate it.
Well, I can't wait for it to be in person, but thanks for joining us, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, George.
Take care. Cheers.
To everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast to both Jim Paculis and Connie Marples. Jim, CEO and Chairman, Connie, President and Founder of Boosh Plant-Based Brands, trades on the CSC and the stock symbol VEGI, and for our friends yes, VGGIF. Due diligence now is what you guys have to do at home. You've heard what they've had to say. You've watched what they've had to say. You got to do your due diligence. Two ways to do that. First, get to the company's profile on Agoracom, because there are a lot of moving parts here. So we give you a great overview of the company. Second, after that, link from there or go directly to booshfood.com, BOOSH, booshfood.com. You're going to salivate when you see the pictures, but that's where you're going to do your deep dive due diligence. And most importantly, actually, I'll add on number 3, because we can't do it for most people. You can't try someone's gold or someone's coal. But in this case, get yourself off to one of the retailers, Safeway, Metro, IGA, Whole Foods. Get yourselves to one of those. Grab the company's products, bring them home, try them, because that's the ultimate due diligence. And I think if you do that, you're going to be a shareholder for a long time. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you soon. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.